That's fine. Okay. We're going to start with the main event.
You want to start with the main event?
Yeah, on the final UFC Fight Island. So it's UFC Fight Night 174 on Sunday, the 26th of July. And we have, start with the main event, which is the I'm going to butcher his name now, Khamzat Chimaev, the guy you just watched beat John Phillips.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Where he, 6-0 going into it?
He was going into that fight 6-0, so he's now 7-0.
With second round, which he basically picked up where he left off after the first round.
Yeah, it was a dart in the second round. Yeah.
Beating poor John Phillips up against the cage. This being said, John Phillips called him out as his last fight.
Was that supposed to be John Phillips' last fight?
No, that was meant to be Bisping's last fight. John Phillips called him out after he got starched by Gastelum. After he got dropped by Gastelum, John Phillips called him out and he was like, no, I'm done, mate. And then that's John Phillips. So I feel for him, but he ran and screamed at Dana White after that win, fight me again, I'm fresh. He didn't even get hit. Not one punch, I'm pretty sure. I think John might have hit him.
One. Yeah, that was literally, he landed one punch while they were up against the fence in the first round on the floor because he just felt like, I've got to get something in here. I was just getting beaten because he took him down to the ground within like 5 seconds. He landed a head kick and then straight for the double.
Yeah, that was it. It was a beautiful right high kick, switch double leg. And I was like, I've never seen that. Never seen that.
Drilling that. No, it's genius.
It's genius.
To go
it's genius.
Up high and then straight down for the double. That's smart. So he had total control, total domination. And he took, one tiny little rabbit punch. So
we could take that.
He's just like, whatever. He was smiling so hard after the first. Like when you watch him in his corner, looking up at the screen.
He looks so fresh. Yeah. As well. All these guys as well don't have. They've got the no moustache and the beard, and it's like
it's the culture, isn't it? It's the style.
Is he? Where's he from originally? He fights out of Sweden. He's Swedish on his.
He does fight out of Sweden, but I don't know because that was his debut, so I'm not.
I've never heard of fella before it.
But they're calling him Khabib too, right? That's what they're calling him. And I did see when
middleweight.
When he took Phillips down, he's doing the exact same thing about tying the legs. Also, getting him against the cage at the end of the first was amazing because he went straight down for the double and then hopped him over to the fence.
That's it. That's it.
And I was watching him, was like, okay, he wants to be against the fence. I'm not sure why, but obviously his game plan was to actually ground and pound him, and
it's almost keep him in half guard, isn't it? And just pin.
Exactly. Yeah. He took one leg. He locks up one leg and then just pound.
I love it.
It was just like,
I love it. Relentless.
This is smart. Yeah. And every time he tried to post and stand up, every time Phillips was posting and to get up, he just was like, nope. Pulled it away from him, bring him back down, pull his hips away again, smack.
What did they call it? The Dagestani handcuff.
Dagestani handcuff, where he's got obviously one hand on grabbing his wrist. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, Paul Felder and Michael Bisping having a little moment together with that. And so he goes to 7.
The two of them together, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're good commentators actually. I enjoy Bisping having a Brit in there because otherwise Hardy's there this weekend. Hardy's actually doing the Whittaker fight.
I was about to ask you if you knew who was commentating this weekend because we've got a lot of
because John Gooden was on
guys.
It. John Gooden came in for John Anik on Saturday, and now Hardy's flown out. So he was on Submission Radio talking about how the comment you linked me earlier, which we'll get onto, which is Bocchina being a bodybuilder, not a proper fighter, basically. Which I do. Yeah. When you hear him say it, though, he doesn't mean it quite as harshly. It's just how it comes out in a statement. But I actually agree with what he says, but I'm going to, hence wearing the fanboy t-shirt. But 7-0 for him now, and he's fighting Reece McKee, who a lot of people don't know because he's now making his debut. He's from Cage Warriors, an Irish lad.
He is from Cage Warriors, yes.
Graham Boylan called him up. There's a nice video of him reacting, where Graham Boylan's.
I haven't seen the video.
He's got him like this, and it's a video of Reece, and he's got Graham Boylan on the phone, and he just says, "You're flying to Abu Dhabi, mate," and he's what? So confused, and he goes, "You're fighting in the UFC, congratulations!" And the guy's just like bawling in his car. But I'm like, don't be so sure, because you're fighting Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah, he was a contender, right? Dude. So he was contender in Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
And then moving over against this guy that he's already had his UFC debut, and he's just
he crushed it.
Relentless.
He crushed it.
Definitely someone to watch.
Yeah. So I'm writing based on I've only seen Rhys McKee fight once, and he was good, but I wouldn't put anything past good. And it's the level of Cage Warriors is not UFC. Even the Cage Warriors champions sometimes don't last in the UFC.
Not champion. Yes, that's why I said contender, because to stand up against Chimaev, I don't know. It's unfortunate because obviously he's from Northern Ireland, I believe. So someone from our neck of the woods, you could say. But I don't.
It's hard to get behind him when you see.
Yeah,
Khamzat.
I haven't looked at any of the betting favourites or anything, but undoubtedly Chimaev is going to be way up there.
When I saw it, Khamzat Chimaev was a 10-1 favourite.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So I don't know what the American Vegas odds are, like minus 800 or something like that. It's probably going to be the most favourite on the card.
8-1, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Oh, okay, so it'll be minus 1,000.
Probably will be favourite of the night.
Unbelievable. So that is the first fight on the main card. The second one is, I don't know why it's on a main card. Now, one of them's a name in Alex Oliveira.
Yes.
But the other's Peter Sabota, who has fought once a year since 2018. He beat Nicholas.
I was going to say to you, I don't remember this guy. And I wasn't sure why I couldn't remember this guy.
Yeah, he's got a name that sounds familiar. But he doesn't.
I was like, I don't know who this is.
Well, put it this way, he beat Dalby. And we know Dalby's good. Nick Dalby's good.
Yeah.
That was in 2018. Then he lost. Oh, then he beat Ben Saunders. Ben Saunders then got cut. Killer B Saunders was always just a, ranked 15 to 20 guy. Win, loss, loss. Cut.
Yeah.
10th planet guy. Very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, but that's why he got cut. And then he lost to Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards has had 2 fights since that.
Yes, but also losing to Leon Edwards is not.
No, exactly. But it was so long ago. That was 2018. That's 2 years ago. He's fighting Alex Oliveira, who lost to Mike Perry, then lost to Nicholas Dalby, won his comeback fight. Yeah. So he lost to Nick Dalby on Dalby's return to the UFC last year, which is great. And then he beat Max Griffin. Max Griffin's with all due respect, an average fighter for UFC anyway. So it's just a boring fight for a main.
Yeah.
Like when I look at the prelims, there's a couple fights on the prelims. I'm wondering. Nicholas Dalby is on the prelims.
He is, yes.
Why is he not on the main card then instead? You've got Tom Aspinall, a heavyweight who trains with Till and spars with Tyson Fury. He's on the prelims.
I think if you look at the cards, there are 7 fights. Is it on the main card?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 fights. Yeah.
7. That is a lot for a main card. It's usually only 5.
Exactly.
And especially for a fight night, 7 fights on the main card. I think they probably put Oliveira in there because he is a name that most people, if you've been following UFC for a long time, you will recognize that name. Whereas Nicholas Dalby has not been in the UFC for very long. We know him because of Cage Warriors, but he hasn't.
Well, his second stint in the UFC anyway, before he originally got cut. Yeah. He got cut, I think, following a Darren Till draw originally. Then he went back to Cage Warriors and started starching everybody, except Ross Houston.
Yeah.
Why he's not in the UFC, I don't know. But yeah, so that to me is like a skippable fight, knowing that that's going to be the sleeper fight now, but which is going to be like a bloodbath. But I like Alex Oliveira, but there's only one cowboy in the UFC, and it's not him. Remove that name, please, sir.
I agree.
The next fight is, again, I don't know why it's a main card fight. I like Paul Craig, the Bear Jew. He pulls off some insane submissions. His last fight out, he drew with Mauricio Hua. He was meant to beat him. He was meant to be, okay, we're going to get your name out there now, Paul, as a Scottish bloke. He's 6'3", he's a big dude for light heavyweight as well. He's thick. proper solid. Not the tallest, obviously, but he's got a 76-inch reach. It's a long reach. And he's really slick at submissions. But they've matched him with, and if you can say this name, you get a prize.
I can't pronounce the first name. I've intentionally only written down his surname.
Antigulov is the surname, yeah. His first name, I'm going to give it a go, is Gadzimurad Antigulov. Sounds like a street fighter. He's 5'11". Let's start with that. He's coming off 2 knockout losses in a row.
Light heavyweight, 5'11".
And he's got a 70-inch reach.
Yeah, it doesn't sound... The stats don't seem to be too promising. His record as well being 20 wins and 6 losses.
Again, yeah, a lot of those wins came before the UFC, but also main card. This is what I'm saying again. Like, when you look at the prelims, Nathaniel Wood opens the prelims. Oh, yeah, Nathaniel Wood opens it.
Yes.
Put him open the main card. Why does he not open the main card? Yeah, the prelims. Let's quickly go back then to the prelims.
In general, it's the top 3 fights on the main card, but otherwise it's the prelim card that I am most excited for.
I agree with that. Actually, yeah, let's finish off the average bit of the main then before I go crazy on the prelims, because I'm getting crazy for that.
So next fight we've got the female strawweights.
That's it. Yeah.
We have Rodriguez and Esparza.
I don't know much about Marina Rodriguez. I've seen her fight.
I don't, but her record is very good. Very good.
I saw her beat Tisha Torres.
12 wins, no losses.
She hasn't lost. She's undefeated. Okay. I saw her get a draw against Cynthia Calvillo. So that's the 2 on her record.
I don't recall.
So she's undefeated, but she has drawn 2 fights.
Yeah, but also half her wins come by decision as well. And then there's 5 TKOs as well.
Okay, so she's going against ex-champion Carla Esparza. It's hard to say ex-champion because she was the first. She never defended the belt. She got beaten the hell out of by Joanna in her first defense, the Cookie Monster. Yeah. She's good, though. She beat Michelle Waterson last fight. She's coming off 3 wins in a row. Her last loss was to Tatiana Suarez, she's undefeated. She's wrestling everyone. So it's a good test for Marina if she can beat someone. But what stands out to me is Marina Rodriguez is 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. Carla Esparza is 5'1". It's quite rare you see that difference in height with the women.
What's Esparza's reach?
63. So only 2 inches less. But the height difference plays so much with grappling when you're against the fence. Now,
she also gets a lot of wins by decision, which makes you think that the grappling and all that is going to play a lot.
I'm just thinking long limbs for the muscling out and just the technique of getting that underhook, because Carla's a wrestler. All she did was take Michelle Watson down. She did no damage to Michelle Watson, but she took her down and she played the game and she won. That's how she does it. No shame in it. You're good at it. Do it. But to me is going to be super boring. yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, one of them makes it fun to watch though. When you see him just like in your mind as a bear, just pouring at someone over and over. He makes it relentless. He doesn't make it like, for example, Kamaru Usman against Jorge.
I was about to say our most recent.
Oh my God! Mate, quote Colby Covington.
Boring. Okay, so the
Marty,
one fight.
Marty, fake newsman.
That's the one entertaining fight he has had, and that is because neither of them wrestled. You had 2 wrestlers that decided to strike, and that was very entertaining. Not to say that mixed martial arts should just be about striking, but when it is just wrestling and foot stomping, it is a little bit boring.
I always have a go at people for going, just stand up and strike, be a man. Because I'm like, no, go watch kickboxing then. This is MMA.
Yeah.
But as I was watching Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, as a diehard MMA fan, someone that's done loads of martial arts, I went, stand up. I hated it. I hated it. Especially how he fights is so boring.
When we're at events, you get that all the time. All the time, there's people going, "Oh, why don't you just get up?" And it is a little bit like you don't understand what they're doing. Like there's a chess match happening here.
Yeah, you're carrying someone else's body weight. It's not.
Yeah.
But I think it was because I was rooting for Jorge as well. I think that's the thing. I don't hate Kamaru. I just find him a rubbish champion. He's boring.
I've never enjoyed watching him.
No, Tyron Woodley was a boring champion, but Tyron Woodley is like Tyson Fury's personality compared to him. Like I like Woodley a lot better.
I will always defend Woodley. I very much enjoy watching him because I love that 0 to 60 power, that piston punch that would come out of nowhere. I find him very entertaining.
He's meant to be fighting Colby.
That is
Colby signed the lines. They're waiting on Woodley.
And again, I can imagine that going in a similar way to the Kamaru Colby fight, because they are both wrestlers and they can both strike. I can imagine that being another one.
On paper, you'd say Woodley has the sharper striking, based on the fact that he dealt with Till pretty well. He's dealt with Wonderboy twice. Wonderboy's the best striker. Wonderboy's a better striker than Darren Till. He is. Darren Till he got that. I scored that fight as a draw. I never thought Darren Till beat him, and I didn't think Stephen beat him. I thought it was it wasn't. I was on the edge of my seat because I love Darren Till and I love Stephen Thompson, but that fight was a draw. But there is a rule that I think John Anik said it on his podcast with Kenny Florian, that the judges are told do not score rounds as draws unless it is absolutely essential. They want a winner.
Yeah.
But I hate that rule because sometimes there is no winner,
isn't it? Yeah, but it is to do with
the amount of times I'm like, do it again.
Otherwise, things are a bit stale. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to implement an extra round if
sudden death.
Yeah. So another one would be the Holloway Volkanovski. Would have been incredible to have added a round, because it was 2 for 2 apiece, and then going into the last round, I felt like it was 2 for 2. Yeah.
I had it potentially 4 to 1. Holloway. I told you before that fight, I think Volkanovski's got him. I think he's got his number. Could not be more. I disagreed with myself. I thought Max won that fight easily.
Well, you know that Holloway is one of my favourite fighters. Mm-hmm. And I was still trying to play devil's advocate a little bit. I was still trying to say, well, I could see how that could be Alex's. So I was trying to see it from the eyes of the judges rather than trying to be too biased on my part. So I could have seen it as 2 for 2 going into the last one. And I honestly believe that last round was so close that it was impossible to call. And then that's where you say that they need to make a decision. And
well, either way, I had Max 3 rounds up going into the championship rounds. So I was like, okay, if it goes. But then again, people had that for Dominic Reyes against John Jones, and I scored that 2 going into the 5th. So
yes, I think that's another fight. That's another fight which would have benefited from another round.
A sudden death. Give them both a knife.
It's unfortunate.
Screw martial arts. Let's go to the death now.
Because I mean, especially for Holloway, because now it puts him in a position.
He's got 2 losses now to that bloke. Yeah.
Yes, and we're speaking out of date here because this is a couple of weeks past, but still relevant. That it was 2 very, very close matches, and when is he going to get a shot at the title again? Probably won't. It's now probably going to be I don't know. His next fight might be against Korean Zombie. And I don't know who I can't in my head picture the rankings right now, but the next person to fight it may be Ortega fights Volkanovski.
I think the rankings right now are Ortega, Yair, Zabit, and then
I think Yair is underneath Korean Zombie.
Yeah, so mix the order up, but it's those are the bad boys, and then then it's Stevens, and then you've got Josh Emmett, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I actually really like Volkanovski. I think he's a really good guy. There is some bitterness about the losses to Max because of the public opinion and obviously all the slander and stuff that's been thrown his way, which is quite unfortunate because he is a nice guy. But it's the fans are arguing that it was a robbery, and I don't necessarily think it was a robbery. I don't think that is the case.
No, if you rewatch the fight and watch it just from Volkanovski's perspective, you can see why judges think that. And also, they haven't got all the replays. They haven't got all the dudaks. They are literally watching it from. We have been to shows all the time. It's so difficult to see through that fucking cage. It's so much easier up high when you see into the octagon instead of from the outside. Yeah. You just get. You're like, oh, he might not have. You can't see wrist control. You might not see him go out that quick. Yeah. You might not see him get against.
They're only ever getting the fight from one angle. Exactly. You are going to miss things.
Yeah. Implement more judges, they say. Maybe.
Yeah, it would be great if that was the case. Especially, I know that Rogan has always talked about doing things like
he wanted like 10 judges or something.
Judges. Yeah, like all these things. Like I don't know how you would stop corruption in an instance like that, especially if they weren't there at the events. You know, if people are doing it through apps and things, and it's, I don't know, then it starts getting a bit buggy, doesn't it? Of people sort of cheating about using bots and stuff to try and.
Mark Goddard stands by. You don't need to change the judges. You don't need to change the rules, the 10-point system. It's all fine. What you need to change is the judges' understanding. You need to get the right people in. That's all it is.
Yeah, that is true.
He said the 10-point must system is purely a system if it goes decision.
Yeah.
And he says
it would be beneficial if judges came from, say you have 4 or 5 that come from core pillars of MMA. So maybe you have a jiu-jitsu, a wrestling, a striking. You know, if you have these,
why don't they work together
judges
as well? Why are they separated? I never understand that. Give them a telly. Give them the thing. Let them watch it from all the camera angles. It's just.
And to have the stats wouldn't be a bad thing either. I don't understand why it's like they're not allowed to see the significant strikes. They're not allowed to see the control time. They just have to judge it from what they think they saw. It's like, well, now you're giving human error. Like, why not use all of these tools? They do in everything else. They do in football. They do in rugby. All these things you have.
Every other sport.
You know, the video playback where it's like, hang on, let's have a look at this.
Yeah. Just not combat sports.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the combat sports has obviously not been as big for as long, and we're doing pretty well considering.
Yeah, not bad since it's from mid-90s, just before your birth.
93 it was. Yeah, I am as old as the UFC. Thank you.
Right. So who do we move on to next? Should we go back to the prelims and say the fights that we're excited for? Because there's a couple I don't care about.
Because there is only the top 3 left on the main card. So
one of them is my sleeper. One of those is my sleeper fight.
All right, let's go back to
giddy.
Let's go back to prelims and then work back.
Give me a fight. Give me a fight from the prelims.
Okay, so one that you may not have paid attention to, but I am excited for is Tanner Boser, which is the second fight on the prelim card. I am excited for that.
You are right. I'm not excited by that.
It's one that I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Not only because of his bouncy mullet, but his last fight he looked really good. His fight before that was a loss. I think it will be a challenge who he's going up against. The guy who he's going up against, I think he's 10-1, which is Rafael Nunes. That's going to be a tough fight for him. And his Nunes' last fights, he had 3 fights this year that were cancelled, obviously due to pandemic and everything.
3 that were cancelled.
He had 3.
Wow.
There were 3 different cards that kept being moved and cancelled, and they were all 3 different opponents. So obviously this affects everybody. So I don't know. It's not necessarily going to just affect him of who am I training for. That affects everybody, especially when you're getting a call, hey, you're in the UFC in a week's time. You know, like no one's really getting, the 3 months ahead that they're used to getting. But I can imagine this guy that's coming in is hungry because he hasn't had one for so long. And I do like Tanner, but I can see, I don't know, for me, that's going to be a fun fight to watch. I think that's going to be enjoyable.
That's sleeper for you?
Is that
your sleeper fight of the night?
That's sort of my guilty pleasure of the night. I'm going to enjoy that one.
Well, my guilty pleasure is the man we've seen win the Cage Warriors title, Nathaniel Wood.
Yes.
Against John Castaneda.
Great fight to open.
Mate, John Castaneda, I believe, is coming off the Contender Series.
Yeah, I don't know who he is because this is his debut, right?
It's his debut, which is actually quite a harsh debut to give him, considering Nathaniel has fought 4 times in UFC now. He won
Previous
3.
Champion.
He won 3 by submission, which was, I can't remember the first guy's name, Eduardo. He had Muay Thai tattooed on his stomach, so I liked him. And he was lighting Nathaniel up on the feet. And then in the second round, randomly decided for a takedown after beating Nathaniel up, and Nathaniel just dance choked him. And he was like, "Thank you very much, debut win." And he fought
Nathaniel. He is coming off of a loss in his last fight, correct?
John Dodson.
Yeah.
It was a close fight. He won the first round, Dodson won the second. Third round, Dodson just clipped him. And that mini man is so fast. And it was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is where Dodson trains. He trains out of Greg Jackson's with John Jones.
So it was in front of his home.
He was in front of his family. You know, if you think about it, for Nathaniel, it was quite a lot of pressure for him. going against someone that has fought for a title, has fought Mighty Mouse, has fought Cejudo, has fought Benavidez, has fought all these big top guys, moved up in weight.
Yeah.
He has fought.
Quite a CV.
Mate, don't look at the losses on his record. Losses can be deceiving. That's experience, and he clipped Nathaniel, right. Got back in the rankings, and Nathaniel he's 27, so he's got plenty of time. He's knockout artist, Nathaniel, but he won his first 3, 1 by DAS, 2 by rear naked choke. So 3 subs. He's fighting a guy that he's 14-2, coming in from the Contender Series. Dana hyped him big time, said he's no joke. That's why he's giving him to Nathaniel, because he thinks that John and Nathaniel can be a good fight. I'm not worried for Nathaniel at all here.
No, I'm not.
I know how good this motherfucker is, and he's my sleeper and my betting favourite, and I would bet the house on Nathaniel Wood for this one because he's coming off a loss as well. Cage Warriors, he's never lost 2 fights in a row as well. When he lost in Cage Warriors, he came back and went on a 6-fight win streak, came into the UFC, went on 3-fight win streak there. So he had a long streak of not losing, and he's gonna.
If you look at obviously the current state of affairs of the world, we have there are a lot of British fighters going to this card, which is why I think Nathaniel was squeezed onto this card, and they were trying to find him. I think he was probably the first choice, and then they were trying to find him a contender. So this looks beneficial for Nathaniel.
Plus, I think they want to build him up. He's not like Great Britain. He is Londoner. He comes out to black strobe. You got the bass line as he walks out. It's just, he's so English. He takes all photos like in Peaky Blinders. His dad's a massive punk rocker with sleeves, and
I haven't seen his dad.
His dad's in the corner all the time. He's got like a long white mullet. He stands behind Brad Pickett after Brad slaps him in the face a couple of times.
Yeah.
So his dad's in his corner all the time since the start. His dad's dad. Like if Nathaniel after the Eduardo round 1, he has covered pissing blood out his nose, and his dad's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
That's London for you, isn't it?
That's exactly it. So Nathaniel's my sleeper on the prelims anyway. I've got one more sleeper because it hasn't been hyped that much. But just to give honourable mentions to the prelims as well, we've got Mike Grundy fighting Musa Olivev. I can't pronounce his name. But Mike Grundy is Darren Till's wrestling coach.
He's from Team Calbon.
He's from Team Calbon, under Colin Heron. So
but
he won his first fight as well.
The thing that worries me is obviously training camp-wise. I believe his son is a wrestler as well, right? Yep. But he's only 15. Supposedly built. Very, very good.
He's built.
Yeah. Supposedly, someone to watch for the future as well. But I don't know. It just does worry me about how good of a camp people may have been getting at home workouts and such. That does concern me somewhat.
So.
And it's his first fight in at least a year, right? He had a
gap. He's only fought once in the UFC, Mike Grundy. He beat Narimani. So everyone thought he was going to out-wrestle. It was last year. Everyone thought he was going to out-wrestle him, and he decided to stand and bang with him just to prove a point, and he knocked him out in the second round.
Yeah.
So
and I did see in a video, he said obviously he was the underdog then, and he was happy to be, and he's the underdog now, and he's happy to be.
Yeah, because the guy's fighting is on a 2-win streak by decision. Well, he's on a 12-win streak, I should say, a 2-win streak in the UFC. And he's 12-0 as well. So Mike Grundy's 12-1. It's a fair matchup.
Again, that is an English-British mentality of fighting. I was just like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
I'm going to do what you do better. Yeah, and that brings you on to Tom Aspinall. Finally, a new heavyweight. We don't get many heavyweights, and we've got a British heavyweight, which I can't remember the last time there was a British heavyweight. It's a long time ago. So we've got him versus Jake Collier. Jake Collier's fought once, and he's all right. Not bad. He's got heavy hands. Won his last fight. Tom trains with Tyson. He's got heavy hands. They could not find him any matchups in Cage Warriors, and he finally got a fight. Tom said, I do not want this to end fast like the last ones. I need minutes. In a fight. And the guy kicked Tom in the leg. He checked it. The guy hurt his leg so bad. He just hit him with a right, and the guy fell down. That's it. It's that easy. He finds it easy. And
he's a fast heavyweight as well.
He is basically Tyson Fury version MMA, which is light on your feet, tippy tapper, but he's got a knockout blow.
Yeah.
So this is his debut in the UFC. He's only had a couple fights.
I don't remember seeing him. Yeah, I don't remember seeing him in Cage Warriors. So I know the name. I definitely remember the name.
Got a lot of Team Cowbomb people on this.
Him. Yeah, that's.
So you got Grundy, Aspinall. You got Till.
Yeah.
So you got 3 Cowbonds. And then you've got Paul Craig, who's Scottish, and you've got Nathaniel Wood, who's English, but they obviously don't fight out of Team Cowbond. Dalby, who's Danish
as well, who's Northern Irish.
Yes, Reece McKee. Yeah. So, should we start with the big boys?
Which one you want to go with? You want to go with Gustaffson? This one?
No, I mean the big boys, because as you can see on my notes here, it says start fight.
I mean, okay, so this is Alex's debut at heavyweight.
After calling a retirement, because he got beaten by Anthony Smith, who he thought had a very basic skill set, and Anthony Smith subbed him.
Smith is amazing.
I rate him highly.
I don't think that's basic at all. Like his fight against John Jones was one of the most enjoyable fights.
I still think he should have taken it. He could have got the belt there. He could have been like,
I'm very pleased that he
shouldn't have made me, bitch.
Yeah, I'm very pleased he didn't, because it just showed sportsmanship and that he was a gent and that he didn't steal it. And if he did steal it, he wouldn't have had the fans on his side, because he was clearly losing the entire fight up to that point. If he then won the championship, it would have been like, did you really though? So like he would have been a fake champion. So I'm pleased he didn't, and I'm pleased that he saw that in the moment and that he didn't let the gold get into his eyes too much and steal it. I'm pleased about that. So that was a really enjoyable fight to watch. And I do rate Anthony Smith.
I like Anthony Smith. I think he's very good.
His last fight, unfortunately, was quite sad to watch, with his teeth falling out.
Like Glover. Yeah. Glover apologising while hitting him in the face.
That was really difficult to watch.
And that was after he just got his home invaded, and he just fought for his life against some random attacker.
Yeah. But to see Smith's corner not throw the towel in, to see them tell him, "No, you're gonna do this." It was like, okay, I understand to an extent, but when a fighter tells you my teeth are falling out, come on, man. Like, he's clearly losing this fight. Is he gonna win this fight in the last round? I don't think.
Yeah, most referees talk about, it's the duty of the ref to be safety of the fighters, and I'm like, but
no, it's the corner.
That's
the ref.
Exactly.
It's the corner.
Throw that towel in.
Yeah.
He's a warrior. Let him carry it. No, let him have his teeth. Let him see his kids, and then he can fight again and get another paycheck. It's not.
Yeah, it's not worth damaging him too much, because then he's going to spend even longer out than he needs. If he's losing the fight like this badly, throw the towel in, let him recover. Don't let it get worse and worse.
Yeah.
You know? And again, that also makes me think of Aldo. Aldo getting pummeled the way he did. Is that necessary?
It's different slightly with Aldo, as I think he was actually in that fight. I had him winning rounds 1 and 2. Those leg kicks were fucking him Petty-Yan up.
I had round 1 close.
Again, it was splitting hairs, but I sided. I wanted Petty-Yan to win. I don't like it when a champion tries to get back on his horse and find another division. I like seeing new blood come in, and I've seen Petty-Yan. What he did to Uriah Faber, granted he's old and coming back, but he's still a veteran.
I don't rate Petty-Yan too much at the moment. I did see a post today, I believe, that said he hasn't actually beaten any top 5, and I was thinking, has he not? I was trying to look.
Well, Aldo counts. He does count. Aldo is 31 years old. You think how young that motherfucker is still?
But it's not actually the division that he used to fight at. And the last fight he had, albeit very, very competitive, and he should have won the fight against Mariah.
I think everyone agrees he should have won the fight.
I mean, obviously, that's why he had this title fight. But I don't know. Petty-Yan against Aldo. I don't know. It didn't look great. And I can imagine someone now coming up through the rankings of bantamweight and taking Petty-Yan out.
Jermaine Sterling.
Jermaine looking amazing. Yeah.
He's got a good podcast as well called The Weekly Scraps. Anyone that wants to watch that, it's really good.
I haven't checked it out, but I follow his Instagram. I like his posts.
He's got like a miniature Rampage Jackson thing about him, big chain.
He sort of does.
And he's so good. He's so good. He just pulls a submission off in the minute every time.
coming up was obviously Sugar Sean.
Don't rush him. Please don't rush him.
Yeah, someone
or
else.
5 more fights. I think he said on his own YouTube page as well, he doesn't care if he gets a big fight or not. He just says he'll just keep knocking them out. Like it kind of called out Garbrandt, kind of. He said
how do you see that fight going?
Cody would starch him. Remember what Cody Garbrandt did to Dominic Cruz? He went 5 rounds with Dominic Cruz. He won, I think, 4 rounds, and he was playing with him. After the 3rd minute of the first round, he started dancing because he was smashed. He was like, "This is easy." He's been training for Dominic Cruz since he was like 15, though. But him before he fought TJ and got super emotional, even 5 more seconds on the first round of the first TJ fight, TJ's knocked out.
Say which TJ fight?
Yeah, he's knocked out, and Cody retains the belt. There's no rematch.
Yeah.
But TJ composed himself and Cody got emotional. And then the Pedro Munoz fight, he got emotional again. Pedros was like, all right, I'll stand and bang with you. And then he just got clipped. I like new Cody. What he did to Sun Sao made me get off my seat and nearly throw up with joy. It was brutal. Yeah. He fired an uppercut from the floor.
The eyes completely locked in.
Mate.
He timed that so well. It was literally, I think he hit him just as the buzzer went. And he probably
on the buzzer.
Just after.
Yeah. Whose knockout was better? That one or Sugar Sean versus Eddie Wineland?
Obviously, I like Sugar Sean.
The uppercut fake to the overhand and then the stiff as a board.
There was two. I can't remember it exactly now, but he threw 2 feints followed with that. And it was incredible.
There's an uppercut feint, and then he led with that hand again. It might have.
Yeah. That's fight IQ. That was.
But it was the walk-off KO, the Mark Hunt walk-off KO. I was like, oh, but I still think Cody's knockout that would win knockout of the year for me. If that doesn't win it, someone has to get flying wizard kicked to break that.
What was great about Cody's one was it was almost like a little stare-off that the two of them was sort of just like. They obviously knew they had less than 10 seconds. They knew it was coming to a close, and they were still looking at each other like, "Are we going to throw another one?"
Yeah.
And then as he came in, Cody was like, "Nope, duck, smack," and it was like.
And when you watch it as well, as he connects, watch the fight back. Cody immediately puts his arm up and walks off. He knows as he's falling, he's like, "He's out cold, mate. I've done it. Done it. I've done it. Yeah. Easy peasy. Easy for him."
How old is Cody now? I forget how Cody got.
About 26, 27. He's young.
Still very young.
He fought for the title at 25, my age. So yeah, young. Maybe like 28. Maybe getting on there. So I don't know. Getting on. Like 28, old man. But we digress.
Actually, no. Sorry. That is something to mention with the lighter weights, say the bantam weights. You tend to find that the fighters are a lot younger than, say, the heavyweights. The heavyweight fighters, you get...
The last thing that goes power. That's why.
Yeah. Whereas...
Fabricio Werdum, mate, he's 43, I think.
But that's something to mention about Aldo, isn't it? Because Aldo, albeit young, still in his 30s...
Fight miles, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, he has had a lot of fight miles. He's been in the UFC. I mean, he was the OG of...
the WEC champion.
Yeah.
And mate,
the only adopted by the UFC,
the only bantamweight champion till McGregor.
Not bantam, featherweight.
Featherweight, yeah. Moved down to featherweight champion. I know what you meant. We digress from Gustaffson and Werdum. I've got here. So Werdum, in my opinion, was obviously one of the best. You don't choke out Cain Velasquez and Fedor Emelianenko if you're bad. He just fell in love with striking too much and forgot about his ground game, I think. He's coming off a decision loss to Alexei Olenek, which for a top contender, Olenek's like the keeper of the top 10. If you beat Olenek, you're in the top 10. That's how I see him. He's never going to win a title, never. Olenek doing his weird Ezekiel, but from bottom, just it's weird. But he beat Fabricio, and before that, Alexander Volkov beat Fabricio. Again, Volkov potentially has the ability to get to a title, but he's, again, inconsistent. He was whooping Derek Lewis for 14 minutes and 50 seconds, and then Derek Lewis just goes, fuck it, throws a lunchbox at him and knocks him out.
The heavyweight top 10 is very interesting anyway, because we know that we've got Stipe DC3 coming. And then, I mean, my money, I don't know. I can't even place a bet on that, to be honest, because I like both.
We'll make a video. We'll make a full 2-hour video for that one.
I like both guys at the first fight. I like both guys at the second fight. I can't just choose. But if my point being that if DC wins the belt, he walks away, and it does change the structure.
And if he
of the top
loses,
10
he walks away.
Yeah.
His last
I
fight.
just would like to see him win and walk away.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to walk away from it, you want to walk away the champ, right?
I like that story, but then he vacates it, and that means it's going to be Stipe versus someone else for the vacant title.
Obviously, it'll go, but who knows what Stipe wants to do?
Fight fires.
Yeah, who knows? Because, I mean, that's actually been his priority during this time. His priority was to go back to work. Rather than keep fighting at the moment. So the top 10 of that division is interesting. So to see Gustafsson step into it, I
think he wins 2 fights in heavyweight, he'll get a title shot.
I'm excited to see.
What I wouldn't mind is seeing Alex Gustafsson beat Fabricio Werdum, DC beat Stipe, and then see a rematch of Alexander Gustaffson versus DC at heavyweight. I think that would be. I think Alex Gustafsson lines up good against Stipe. I think he matches up well because he's exactly the size. I think Gustafsson's actually slightly taller, but he's got the same reach as John Jones.
Gustafsson is very tall.
He's got the same reach as John Jones, a 79-inch reach. I think John might have an 80, but the only person that matches John's reach in the whole UFC is Stefan Struve, the skyscraper, the 6'11.5", 7 foot, and Alex Gustafsson. I like Gustafsson a lot, and I hate that he's never been. He's on my list of one of the greatest. Dan Hardy literally put a video out on BT Sport with Adam Catterall and Nick P, with the top 10 fighters that have never won a title, and I immediately thought of like 3, and Gustafsson is one for me.
Gustafsson and Jones, their fight is in history books now. Like
50% people disagree that Gustafsson lost. I'm one of them. I think he won that fight. So, mate.
So I think going into this fight, Gustafsson, as long as it all depends if it's striking or ground, doesn't it?
I can't imagine it's going to go to the ground, to be honest. I know Fabricio's a jiu-jitsu guy, but he's not a wrestler. Gustafsson's good at wrestling. He stuffed a lot. He took DC down, took John Jones down. Fabricio likes Muay Thai too much now. As soon as he fell in love with knocking people out, like you see how he chased when he was the title holder and Stipe, he fought Stipe. He chased Stipe. Stipe clipped him with that short hand and just dropped him. He just wanted to strike. He was like, I've got to get him. And just lost his head.
When was the last time that Werdum fought?
Feb, something like that. Earlier this year, he fought Olenek. Yeah, because he got suspended, didn't he?
Okay, yes.
He got suspended for druggies. So another thing, he's a PED user. As soon as I believe allegations.
Alleged
is allegedly. I mean, you can see as soon as the people are off them, they start losing. So, who am I to say? But that is my star fight. I think Alex Gustafsson's coming out party at heavyweight. That fight. I think Alex is gonna. I think he's gonna knock him out. I think he's gonna end him like the way he ended Glover Teixeira.
Alex.
He walks around at 246.
Yeah.
He don't cut nothing now. The limit's 265. Could you imagine Gustafsson versus someone like Francis Ngannou? It's going to be...
Although actually, as much as I say that he's going to feel fresh, there is also the question of that he did say he had retired. So actually he said he'd retired, but he stayed in the pool. He stayed in the testing pool.
I think he was just upset. He was just upset at the loss. He just had to think it over.
I don't know how much he's been training since he said he retired.
I don't think many of these martial artists stop training.
It's more the love, isn't it? The love.
Yeah. Robert Whittaker was talking about it, which we'll get onto in about 5 minutes, I think. Yeah, because we've got to mention it, even though I'm not that excited by it. It's the co-main, but it's Mauricio Hua, who obviously, before you started loving MMA, Mauricio Hua was one of the greatest of all time. He was on some people's Mount Rushmore, I'm sure. John Jones beat him for the title back in the day. John Jones at 22 years old when he fought him, youngest champion ever. He opened up with a flying knee against Mauricio Hua. Mauricio Hua, who beat he beat Lyoto Machida. He's the one that gave him his first loss. Lyoto Machida was 17-0. Karate background, just starching everyone. And Hua beat him.
This?
Oh, mate, you test me. This is going to be...
Yeah. Because I started watching... I didn't start watching until the rise of McGregor. So I started watching in 2014.
It's got to be like UFC like 120-ish. Something like that.
That's sort of the middle range where I went back and watched the early fights and I picked up in 2014. But there is a middle range where I just haven't gone back and watched. I have a window. I have a gap in my UFC.
That you're filling though. You're filling the gap. Yeah, so he's against Little Nog. Again, Little Nog, probably one of the best people to never win a title. So it's not Big Nog. It's not the man with the scar around his back. It's Little Nog, the guy with he looks like he's got Spider-Man's tattoo, and then the rip.
Yeah, I know the guy.
So, but he's coming off 2 wins. He knocked out Span and Sam Alvey. Mark Goddard was the ref in both of them.
Co-main though, isn't it?
That's what I get. I think it's just the prestige because it's probably their sending off party. I can't imagine them fighting too much. Shogun's last fight was against Paul Craig, who's also on this card. They got the draw together, and then he beat Tyson Pedro. But he knocked Tyson Pedro out. But up until the knockout, he was getting his ass whooped by Tyson Pedro. So I can't imagine both of them fighting too much longer. They're in their 40s.
As you say, prestige. This goes back to what I said earlier about putting the names in the main card. We have 7 fights in the main card, and we have Oliveira in the main card. Like these names that, they may be a little bit more past their prime now, but they're names that people that used to watch UFC, they're sort of like UFC history in a way. That these guys have been around a long time. So this main card or in fact the whole card, if you look at it together, is a bit of a mix between the new meat, coming up. And hopefully, if you watch the entire card, you're going to see the level of skill coming from the new guys, and you're going to see the old guys and everything. You're going to see the evolution of MMA.
Put this way, Mauricio Hua fought Pride in Japan.
Okay.
Soccer kicks and foot. Yes. Yeah. But Mauricio Hua was never ripped. He had a 6-pack and stuff. He was like Anderson Silva. You knew he wasn't on anything.
Okay.
But he didn't look like GSP back in the day. I do not believe GSP was on anything because he's my greatest of all time. He's my greatest
about the GOAT.
Yeah, he's my greatest of all time, GSP. But GSP when he fought Matt Hughes looked like a bodybuilder. He was a Greek god. He looked like Achilles. He was insane. The most chiseled. He looked like Francis Ngannou, white and 10. I don't know, 40 kilos lighter? I don't know how much. Half the body weight. I don't know what he walks around at, probably about 200 pounds now, George St. Pierre. But he's just built like a Greek god, and he don't stop training. But
GSP is Rushmore. He's Rushmore.
Hey, that's another podcast there. Do a Mount Rushmore.
He is. But I don't know, you could have different Rushmores for different eras. That's the thing. There are these different...
I've got like 6 people on my Rushmore. You can't do that.
Yeah, are we limited to 4? Is it just
You got 4. That's Rushmore, yeah. Got Hoist.
Add one.
Hoist has to be on it.
There's no question.
Hoist. No Bob Sapp.
But what?
500 pounds and abs. No. Dan Hardy. What do you mean he's not a Mount Rushmore? Yeah.
He's on my Rushmore for analysts, for because that's
hairstyles.
how I first discovered him. When you said to me about him as a fighter, I'm like, he's not a fighter. What are you talking about? Like, again, different era that I didn't know before, but
You're used to waistcoat Hardy. I'm used to Mohawk Hardy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I love his breakdowns. And I'm sad that we haven't seen any of the. I don't know. He's still doing them.
You don't get inside the octagon. He's doing Full Reptiles War Room. Yeah, War Room is brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I like
you like both.
The inside the octagon. Yeah, because I like to be able to see that even just production. just the way that it's done.
You missed Johnny G's. You missed John Gooden, didn't you? John Gooden is just so English. He's perfect. He's also a killer on the mats. He might be a purple belt now. I'm not sure, but he's definitely a blue belt.
No idea.
Slick blue belt in the gi. Wears a black gi. I know he's rolling backstage with Hardy once now. Like, not bad for a commentator, you know. John Alex's probably the only one that doesn't train, because the other ones are killers. Paul Felder.
He really not train at all.
John Alec, no. He does a podcast with Kenny Florian, and Kenny Florian keeps telling him to get into his jiu-jitsu class, and he's like, nah.
I mean, why wouldn't you if you're surrounded by killers? Well, I mean, every time he goes out, he's got someone else with him that can look after him.
Probably too busy. So. I think he's got like 5 or 4 children as well. They're all girls. And he's got a moustache now. He's got to maintain this moustache.
It looks good.
That's a career, that is.
But he's done it right. He's still got the stubble. It's not just the mustache. It looks good.
He's got a twin brother as well, John Alec. Identical twin brother.
I was going to ask.
I'm hoping the twin brothers also grow it out. That'd be fantastic. Right. Should we do it?
Moving on. Yeah.
Should we do it? The Reaper versus the Gorilla.
The main event.
Oh, I think we're both sitting on the opposite coin here. The opposite side.
We are, but I'm going to play devil's advocate with this one. I can't make a pick, but I mean, I want to make a pick, but it's not.
Go on, tell me your version.
Okay, I actually think that Whittaker's got this. And I'm sad for saying that, because obviously I love Darren Till. But I think that Darren Till, he hasn't had too many fights in this weight class yet. And he's coming up against one. Is it one? I wasn't sure if it was 2. It was literally just Gastelum. Yeah. Okay. He's had one fight.
Before we go on with that as well, for people that said Gastelum didn't look himself in that fight, fuck off. Because Darren Till nullified him. That's what a good striker does.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
That is all that happened. Did he not look good against Jack Hermansson? No, Jack Hermansson beat him. He caught him. These people are some people are better than Gastelum. People aren't realising that.
Yeah.
Continue.
But he sort of...
Got to put that in.
He sort of played it for points, and it was a very boring fight for his debut in the weight class.
It could be looked at quite boring.
Yeah, and I think at one point Dana had a lot riding on him to be like the next potential unicorn. Like he was coming up just murdering.
After he beat Cowboy.
Yeah,
that was kind of like the leapfrogging.
It wasn't until obviously Masvidal starched him. Like, if you rewatch that fight of Masvidal, Till didn't do too much. Till put him on his ass, like early in the round, and then that was it. Really, the rest of the fight was Masvidal. So Till hasn't looked too great in his last fights. And then obviously with lockdown, chips and dip and everything else that Till's been going on about.
Mike Perry beams.
Yeah, and he's been
raw dogging his girl, whatever that was, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. I don't want to know.
Let's not say that on YouTube. But it doesn't look. I don't know. He's been calling everybody out. He doesn't look as if he's necessarily been taking nutrition into too much consideration. But at the same time, his training is. He looks like a killer in training, the killer gorilla. So. It's very, very hard for me to tell. But then obviously I lean towards Whittaker being previous champ. And
proven.
He still looks like a champ. Like he's had, him against Izzy was an incredible fight, but Izzy is just something else. Isreal Adesanya is another one of my absolute favorite fighters. And watching him come up through the ranks was so exciting. So exciting to watch him come up, and then watching that title fight was incredible. But I still rate Whittaker, and I still think that he's going to be hungry, and that he is taking this very seriously, and that Darren maybe less serious. So I have concerns. I would love to see Darren Till win. Being an English lad,
he'll get a title shot after this with the name and how he speaks. Whoever wins the title, Darren will. If you win
whoever wins,
or whoever wins. If Robert wins, if Costa beats Izzy, Robert wins. Robert will definitely get a title shot against Costa.
If Costa beats Izzy, what are you saying?
Yeah.
No. What are you saying?
Izzy has a heart attack in the cage, right? If he has a heart attack, Izzy loses a limb, they'd still beat him.
I would be worried. I mean, obviously we have Costa Adesanya coming up. I'm worried even just about Costa's weight cut.
That's why Till said he's staying ready for it.
He's enormous. Costa is
enormous. Big. He makes Yoel Romero look like me. It's just, you know what I mean? He is just ridiculous. Is he calling Fat Ricky Martin?
He does, yeah, blown up Ricky Martin.
Blown up Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
So I don't know. This fight, Whittaker and Till, I'm thinking Whittaker's got it, but I would love Till to get it. That's my.
So it's head and heart for you. It's.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's Till, head is Whittaker.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Sadly, I agree. I agree with you. I think Whittaker, the way he starts against, if you rewatch the Isreal Adesanya fight, the way he starts is he tries to make it dirty. He sees all the good Kelvin Gastelum did against him, which is bum rush him, go in old jiu-jitsu style. It's called put on your helmet. Run into the chest. And go in for the sweeping strikes. He didn't play off. He couldn't do it. Izzy had improved so much since the Kelvin fight, and I think he actually dealt with Kelvin really well. He just got caught once, and by that head kick, and it kind of wobbled him. Didn't work with Robert to him. I think if Robert did that to Darren, I don't think Darren is as good as Izzy to react in the same way, and I think he would get caught by something, by one of the bull rushes that Robert can do. I don't think Darren has the trap. He's got good traps. He can set them. But he's not as good at. If McGregor was his weight, he's not as good. You know what I mean? I compare Izzy striking to McGregor striking in the trap setting. The way he makes it's all built around this lefty. It's a basic skill set, but it's all built around left hand.
With Izzy?
No, with Darren.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm comparing him to McGregor. They build their whole game around this weapon.
Yeah.
But he's using. Because you don't see him use everything else, people think he doesn't have it. He has it.
Yeah.
He just doesn't need it because he's got the base. He's like Roger Gracie in jiu-jitsu. Roger Gracie's style is explained as basic jiu-jitsu. Roger Gracie is the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioner in tournaments of all time. All time. With basic jiu-jitsu. He doesn't take that as an insult. He doesn't use use like fancy stuff like Ezekiel's really in tournaments. He uses arm bars, he uses rear naked chokes, he uses guillotines, he uses a bow and arrow in the gi, he uses Kimuras.
But we could say
there's a butterfly guard
quote here. Practice one kick 1,000 times,
The actual quote.
1,000.
I fear not the man
I don't know the full quote, but you know what I mean.
I fear not the man that knows 10,000 kicks, but the man that knows one kick 10,000 times. Yeah. I know
exactly. Yeah.
But so
that's Hodger.
Yeah, so that's how I see Darren. I see Darren as he's got more than enough. He could just smack Robert and sit him down and shut the fuck up. He could. He looks so strong at middleweight. The fact that Kelvin could manhandle Izzy in a clinch and Izzy had to pivot out so fast to just evade him. Darren forced the clinch on Kelvin to see how strong he was. Darren manhandled Kelvin. Kelvin is strong. Darren is strong. Like, that is the gorilla part of him. He looks so thick.
Weight. I think he's still
exactly. He's put on that cut now. He used to cut that weight. He's now put that on. He's settled into this new frame. Same with Robert. Yeah. You watch Robert do the Ultimate Fighter at welterweight. He's a skinny little fuck compared to what he is now. He looks like the Yoel Romero ate Robert Whittaker. He's just molded.
Say this with Poirier. He's another one who's done this.
When you go up, you don't just like, I'm not cutting weight. No, you still cut weight. You just moved your graph up here. Now you're cutting to this weight.
Yeah.
You've built your body
just slowly, but because you do it slowly, you're just building like mass. You're just building actual muscle.
If it's a one-off fight, then you're not cutting weight. But if you settle in this division, like when GSP went to middleweight, he didn't bulk up. He just didn't cut weight. He added muscle and just didn't cut. I think he actually came in underweight. It was dangerous for him to go that high. He never sits that high. Whereas when McGregor fights welterweight, he doesn't, he doesn't bulk to 170. He just doesn't cut.
He usually weighs in around 168, that kind of thing. Like,
exactly.
He doesn't weigh. Yeah.
Darren is walking around at 210. 220.
Yeah.
And he's 6. I think the paper has him as 6 foot. Darren claims he's 6'2".
6'2". He's 6'2".
Darren is big.
Yeah.
He's not the biggest middleweight, but he's as tall as like Bisping was. Bisping, I think, was 6'2". So he's long. And he always has that. He has a Muay Thai fighting style, but he has the length of a karate fighter, which is very cool to watch. So he has quick inside leg kicks. When he does the calf kick now that Colin's telling him to do, what everyone's doing, you'll see how quick he snaps it. Just the hit is so fast. And I think if he can kind of do what Yoel did to Robert in the first fight, which is buck his knees up, if you can get his calves gone, if you can get his footwork gone, that means Darren controls the pace. That means Darren can set the trap for the old lefty. Whoever controls the pace wins this fight. That's what I believe. I don't think it's a counter-striking battle at all. I think Robert's going to try and bull rush him, make it dirty, sit in the clinch, nasty elbows, nasty uppercuts.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Khabib in the clinch, not on the ground, just against the cage. I think Robert is going to be fighting this against the cage. I think Darren's going to try and sit in the middle of the octagon and just try and outpush him, but I don't think he will.
Benefit to Darren for having the bigger octagon in this case and not fighting out at the apex.
Yeah, exactly.
This will be the last. I mean, this is the
last one for now until August. End of August or September.
Yeah, and then we're back into the 25 foot.
That's not. Vegas is just shut down again, so they're making sure that's okay. If not, I believe Dana has said that they're going to be flying back out. And they're pretty much going to live in Abu Dhabi.
So there is potential to move DC Stipe to Abu Dhabi if that's
okay. Because there might be problems in Vegas again. Nevada's just done another lockdown. All the casinos are back shut from they were open again. But mate, I only know it from watching the press conferences. So, my prediction for that. So let's go down the prediction list. I want to say I'm same as you, head heart. I want Darren to win because he's English, and the last English title, the only title we've had is Bisping. He's a 50% hate him, 50% love him. I was in the love.
I love him,
which is good. I mean, who doesn't like conceive, believe, achieve, shut the fuck up? Who doesn't like that? When Luke Rockhold starts talking, he's a samurai, and he's like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
And then he just does his George St. Pierre accent. Who doesn't like it? Just get lost.
He's a typical British fighter.
He's a typical Manc. He's a typical Mancunian.
Yeah, he is.
Clitheroe, that's where he's from. Little town outside Manchester.
So that's what you think of when you think of a tough English guy, Bisping, and to lose your eye fighting and to keep fighting, jeez, like
against the guy that was on serious drug PEDs in Vitor Belfort at the time. If you look at Bisping's loss record, I don't know how many losses, 6 losses, something like that, 4 on PEDs. And the amount he's beat on PEDs.
Won his title fight, I believe, with 6 days' notice, right? Against Luke Rockhold.
Yep.
Yeah.
I bet on that fight. I put £12 on that fight. It was at 22 to 1. 22 to 1. I was sitting at home with my friend, and when Bisping knocked him out at 5 a.m, I woke the house up, screaming my lungs off. And I was like, yes. That is my second best bet of all time. My best bet, I put 20 quid on Holly Holm to beat Ronda Rousey. So that was 25 to 1 British odds. So I don't know what that is in American, but high on a lot of money. So I'm predicting Robert. Are you predicting Robert as well?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to say Robert. I love them both, to be fair. So yeah, Robert.
Both say Robert. For the co-main event, Mauricio Hua versus Antonio Monetoro. Rodrigo Nogueira or Rogerio. Lil Nog. Got Lil Nog here.
Nogueira. Yeah.
You're gonna say Nogueira?
Yep.
Mix it up. I'll go Hua. Considering, I don't know. I mean, they're both old fucks now, so. But I love them both. Yeah. I love them both.
Retro fight.
Exactly, but they're so cool. They're so awesome. Werdum v Alex. Alex. We both agree this. Okay. Werdum Alex. Might have to do a points tally at the end of the year or something. Whoever loses does a forfeit.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Do that.
You have to get in a cage.
Yeah.
Drive up to Hardy Wallhead. And
You do a lot more homework than I do. I'm going to be wrong a lot more.
not how this MMA maths don't work, mate. Carla Esparza versus Marina Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
To mix it up, I'll go Esparza then.
I think it's going to be Rodriguez.
I think that's a 50-50 fight, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, I can't outright say. I don't feel as confident as I do in saying Whittaker, but I'd still say Rodriguez has got it.
You're confident Whittaker?
I'm pretty confident with Whittaker, unfortunately.
I'm with you because I've seen Whittaker beat Yoel Romero. Even though I think the second fight was a draw.
Twice.
Yeah, he still beat him the first time. He definitely won the first fight. Darren Till has not shown me he can beat those people. Who's the best person he's ever beat? Kelvin, Wonderboy. Kelvin, boring fight. Yes, he was very good, but he nullified him. It was quite. I didn't see a lot.
Yeah.
He only landed like 2 hands on him, really. Stephen Wonderboy, chess match, 10 shots thrown in each round. Really, he dropped him.
Yeah.
He clipped Stephen once.
Actually, but now I'm remembering that Wonderboy fight was actually a really enjoyable fight to watch. But it was.
It was just complete.
It was technical.
Faint.
It was all technical.
Just faint fight,
yeah. So if you're watching it not understanding what's really happening, and you just want to see a brawl, boring. If you're watching it and you understand, like the technicalities of what they were doing, the
mistake,
they were doing, the little feints and all those little things, was like then it was actually a really, really interesting fight, and I really enjoyed watching that.
I agree.
I just sort of forgot how good it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good fight, and that was it. The one where Darren missed weight, UFC Liverpool, where he came out to Sweet Caroline. The crowd went nuts. Got to have Neil Diamond. We have, Paul Craig versus Gatsihumurad Antigulov. I hope I said that correct. Well, my Essex accent isn't going to...
I'm going to have to go with the Dagestani on this one.
Are you? He's coming off 2 losses.
I don't know.
He's 5'11" with a 6-inch reach disadvantage as well.
I know.
I'm just trying to convince you because I'm going for the Bear Jew. I'm going for Paul Craig.
But it's the submissions. It's the he's got 15 subs on his record.
Paul Craig has 95% sub rate. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. It's going to be a jiu-jitsu fight.
Enough. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be ground, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe.
Well, yeah. Whenever there's 2 jiu-jitsu guys, suddenly they strike each other. Askren versus Maya. It's just who's worse at striking. Just who's worse. Askren.
You're right.
Yeah, they're going to stand and bang now. Yeah. Askren was don't even. Or waste. Or wait, we traded Mighty Mouse for him. What the hell?
That is sad.
Mighty Mouse was my goat. Like on the he was like tied for it, and then we just give him for Ben Askren. Like, oh god, curly head. Dana ruined that one. If it was even his decision.
It didn't even. I don't think Dana even wanted him.
So you're going for the Dagestani. You're going for Antigulov.
Yeah. I just want to mix things up with that one as well, but I also think that his. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just want to say Antigulov on this one. I've actually wrote that down earlier.
Nice.
Yeah.
And stick to it. That's your gut.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Right, Alex Oliveira versus Peter Sobotta.
I sort of don't care really about this one.
Me too, but I got to write something. So I'm going Alex. I've seen him fight a lot more. He's fought more recently. He's got. I've seen him beat some good people before.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Alex. He fights a lot more regularly. I'm going to put that down to he likes fighting more than Peter.
I'm going to agree with you on that one because I'm not really. I have written Alex down from earlier. I wanted to ask you about his 2 no contests because I actually I don't recall what they were for. But again, I wrote Oliveira down. So I'm going to join you on that one, but I'm not that interested.
Yeah, I've written a lot of statistics for the fights I'm interested in. I've only written about their last fight with those 2. So,
right.
This one I'm going to suggest to people who do watch, bet the house on Khamzat Chimaev versus Reece McKee.
Jeez.
I would bet the house if you can get good odds. If not, don't bother. But
so I don't even usually bet, as you know. Like usually, I don't actually put physical money down on things.
Are you gonna?
I don't. But I'm very, very tempted on this one. After
I'm gonna remortgage my flat for this. Yeah. How much would you like to put down? 100 grand, please. I'd probably get 101 back.
He has. I mean, it's when you watched, like watching back his fight, it's not just the ground control. It was everything. He had the wrestling. He had that the Darsin, so his jiu-jitsu is really good. He started
his hip and shoulder pressure against the cage.
He started it with a head kick.
Yeah, so he's got to strike him.
Exactly. So looking at this guy, he's BJJ wrestling. Don't see a lot of his striking.
One kick.
Besides the ground and pound.
100% kick ratio.
yeah. He had one kick and then the double leg. So I actually think watching him is, and then the guy he's up against, unfortunately, being a very young guy who.
They must have offered him a couple fights. Kind of when Craig White came in against Neil Magny, the Thundercat, his nickname from Cage Warriors. He came in for last minute fight. Who was going to lose the fight? You had to bet the house on Neil Magny. He smashed him.
Yeah.
And then they were
He's
like
on a second wind now.
Yeah. So they gave Paul, and then they gave Craig White a gimme fight. They gave him Diego Sanchez. It's a name. It'll get you into the UFC. It'll get you rolling. Diego fucked him up. So it was back to Cage Warriors, mate.
Yeah.
So he kind of just got called in. I mean, he got to say he fought in the UFC, but we're both saying Khamzat Chimaev bet the house.
Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna.
And I'm gonna say finish again as well. Same way, ground and pound probably. Ground and pound or a choke. He might get his back or something.
TKO with the ground and pound or another choke, because I mean there was a point where he was trying to wrap the head for guillotine. There was, I think he's got all manner of submissions in him. He is a BJJ. So I think it could be another sub. Yeah. I think I've got to put something on this guy. I've got to.
Right, I haven't got all the rest, but these are just the ones I want to mention on the prelims because they deserve to be main cards. Nathaniel Wood is at the top of my list. Bet on Nathaniel Wood. If you like British fighters. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know anything about John Castaneda. He might be the next Anderson Silva for all I know at that weight division. He might be. But I know how good Nathaniel Wood is and how he just got a little sidetracked in the last fight. I think the knockout loss gave him perspective. I'm in the UFC. I'm not going to beat every single person. I'm going to take the loss. Dodson is so good. People forget how good John Dodson is. And he was sitting in the top 3 ranks for so long at flyweight. So long. He moved up to bantam. He missed weight a couple of times at flyweight, I believe. So he went up to bantamweight. And he's been in the top 5 forever. He's never been out of it. They gave Nathaniel Wood him. Nathaniel Wood wasn't even ranked. It's kind of, they pushed him maybe a bit too quickly.
Yeah, but this happens a lot.
It happens a lot
with not nurturing fighters enough and trying to.
But but this isn't boxing. You're going to fight the best people. Yeah. You might have 1 or 2 gimme fights, but even the gimme fights, you still got to fuck them up. They can catch you. We've seen it. So I'm going to say Nathaniel for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I agree with Nathaniel because I do believe that he was the first pick on this fight, and they were trying to find him.
He's very marketable as well. I think the UFC want to push him. They want him to do well. There's obviously some fighters they want to do well. They don't want Kamaru Usman to do well. They never wanted Tyron Woodley to do well. They found them boring. They don't like boring people being the champion.
I find Petr Yan so boring.
Yes, exactly. So
dull.
He's got no personality because no one understands a word he says. It's the problem with Aaron Russian.
No, it's not even that, because he could be he could have a translator but show energy. He just has no energy.
I see what you mean.
He is one tone. He's like, yeah, I just won the belt and
back to training.
Literally all right. You even a human? Come on.
He might not be.
You just won the belt.
He might go back to the hotel room and he looks like Evil Morty, just putting in the tucking in the wire into his eye. Yeah. So we got Nathaniel Wood winning that. Yes. Mike Grundy versus Musa Eveleov. I can't pronounce that name. I'm going to go Mike Grundy.
I don't know.
I'm going to support the Brits.
Yes, in this instance, supporting our boys. Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Aspinall, debut, heavyweight.
Yep.
This is his coming out party. He's going to get some notice, I think.
Yes, I was going to say I think he's going to start this one because every time. So I was watching again his interview. I believe it was the BT one. Have you seen that interview?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where he was saying how he wants to get a feel for people when they come out, and he ends up beating them in the first round anyway. It's like I think that he's got that mentality where he's so loose and he's so easygoing that it just happens for him. He's not looking for it.
I think that happens with practicing with sparring with Tyson. You kind of just he wants Tyson, I believe, said he wants to practice on the best people, and the best people is himself. So he wants the people he practices with to emulate himself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he knows what he's doing wrong as well. If you're pretending to be Tyson and he's fighting himself, you go, I wouldn't do that. Or would I? And then he knows how to counter what he would do. And
Aspinall's got the boxing, but he's also BJJ as well.
Yeah, and you better believe under Mike Grundy and his team that he knows how to wrestle as well.
Yeah, of course, and that's benefit to Darren Till.
Because Brits are notably bad at wrestling.
Yeah, it's not our.
I think the only really good wrestler we've ever had is Brad Pickett, because he studied in America. He went over to America, learned the wrestling craft, and came back. And now he's given it to Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel knows how to fucking wrestle.
It's the thing, isn't it? Because in America, I don't know how old they start wrestling in schools and stuff, but I can imagine it's
high school, year 7. I would have thought so. What are they, 12, 13?
I can imagine even earlier for people that really get into it. I've seen videos of little kids that are like 6, 7.
Yeah, I mean, like in school as a subject. I'm thinking.
Yeah, but it's for them in school. It's a massive sport. We have one sport that's massive in the UK. Football. It's the most boring sport.
Disagree on that one, but yeah. Yeah, you don't like that one.
I just don't.
And you will not be on the football show.
I'm not going to be on the football show. No surprise there.
That's going to be a good one. What's the last one I got on here? The last one on my list is Nicholas Dalby versus Jesse Ronson. We haven't really mentioned it, but Dalby, after being released from the UFC, winning everything on Cage Warriors, getting called back, he's looked brilliant. He's a big favourite against Jesse Ronson, a massive favourite. Jesse Ronson has lost his last 3 fights in the UFC, and they were in 2014. 2014. I believe his record was like 20-8 or something like that. But Nick is going to fuck him up. I think that's another massive favourite one there.
I started watching at the end of 2014 is when I started watching, around September, October.
The era of McGregor, as it's known.
Yeah, I literally
McGregor era.
Watched him win both his belts, watched him against Diaz, all those things.
Did you watch him on the lead up when he fought Marcus Brimage, when he fought Dustin Poirier, when he fought Dennis Siver?
I watched him on, I think I watched the Poirier fight. I watched his lead up,
Dennis Siver was a good one.
I remember being in London. I just moved to London, living in the warehouse, 20 people. We all watched with a projector, watching the fight against Aldo. And obviously,
good long fight that one, wasn't it? It was a good one.
Yeah. Well, there was a few of us that were like, this guy Connor's really exciting. Like all of us that are sort of really into it. I'd watched the other fights just on my own, and then we'd all gone into the living room to watch this one fight. There's 20 of us, so huge living room, massive projector, and then 17 housemates that don't watch fighting, that are all, we get to watch it, and the amount of fight they saw wasn't really worth getting them together.
We're like, oh shit, and that's it.
Nonetheless, it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, that concludes that card. Anything else we're looking forward to?
Mate, there's so many things I'm looking forward to. So many.
Is Bobby gonna finish Darren? Is he gonna go decision? I think he TKOs him. I hate to say that. I hate it because I really want Darren to win, but I just have to. When I want someone to win, I fear they're going to get hurt so bad. And I think Darren's going to be curled up on the floor, and the ref's going to jump in. And
well, we've seen Darren get KO'd.
And then you're going to see Robert
dumping on his tip. Well, he'll be doing that way before the fight as well.
Yeah, you will see the massive bruise on him.
The red mark.
He hits it.
Yeah. Have you actually tried doing that? It does hurt.
No, I haven't. Maybe
it does hurt.
I'll turn the camera off and have a
go. But that's a bit like a Nathaniel Wood sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that must hurt. Gets him going. Ooh.
I don't know. I'd rather be slapped than thump my chest though. A little slap's all right.
I don't know. By Brad. Seen Brad's hands?
Just a slap.
I like gorillas, mate.
I don't know how big
hitting the face with a kettlebell. No, he's like 5'6", 5'5".
Can't have the biggest hands in the world. That's it for the card. Besides that, I'm excited for all the cards that are coming up, all the fights. But the one that I am most excited for after this is Costa Adesanya.
I'm excited for Stipe DC in a couple of weeks as well. That'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, but it's the Costa. Costa Adesanya. That's too far away.
You just know Adesanya. We're gonna just be repping Adesanya t-shirts or something that day. We've got to Photoshop myself on Adesanya on our heads. Just.
I love that guy. Like everything.
Who doesn't like Isreal? Oh, mate. That guy is so slick. He is. Right. Well, that concludes this then. Thank you all for watching.
Ciao.
Until the next one. Peace.